we have a few things we need to discuss about eggs. Kitchen looks almost as oh, thank you. Stop, stop, really stop. So we have to discuss our egg problem today. The thing is, eggs are actually kind of strange the way they work. They're water, essentially, with a little nucleus of fat that's supposed to support a growing chicken, and then lots and lots of protein in the water. In fact, what makes up about half the protein in the egg is one particular protein called ovalbumin, which, I mean, it's kind of hard to say that, so I'm just going to call it albumin today. Albumin is a protein very good for us, very good for chickens that are developing, but we use it, we eat them because that's what gives our egg whites those color when you fry them. That's what gives its firm body and everything, and really all they're doing is solidifying the eggs while cooking out most of the water. When we cook our eggs, though, we're going to be cooking them in the oven today, you need to think critically about how we're supposed to be preparing this. Once you figure out exactly what is going on inside a meringue when you cook it, then we'll be able to better understand why we need to do the things we do to this meringue. So to first start, I'm going to show you guys a little illustration of what's going to be going on today in our meringue. And to do so, I need to get out my big box of tools. I'm going to be talking, hey, don't run away, of lutein indeed. But to help facilitate this, I've got a few visual aids, not real aids, just visual aids. And I'm going to be talking a lot about the structures of different things. So to help you believe me a bit better and help you I'm going to give you a false sense of security by putting on this white lab coat, just so that way you start at least even like on a deeper level, on just like even like a internal psychological level, you will start believing me a bit more. I'm going to put on this white coat so that way let me flip it onto here, a little microphone, so that way you can believe me, even if you don't think you are, you're going to believe me a little bit more now that I'm wearing this. There we go. Because we have to talk a little bit about the science of eggs. There we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my stream today. I'm going to be doing the entire stream in this coat, so don't ask. Here's how this works. Eggs, and specifically egg proteins, eggs have lots and lots of water, which we're going to be cooking out, but inside their egg white is a bunch of things like this. They are proteins. Proteins in egg whites are sort of like this, they're sort of globular at this time. And what we're trying to do is to break these up. When we whip the egg whites, what we're essentially doing is turning our big globular proteins like this into individual strands. And when we do that, we can really, really work these out a little bit more. So I'm going to just cut a piece off here for now. So now I've worked out my globular proteins as they start. Have you ever tried to make your own scrambled eggs before, and you'll notice that when you whip the two together, you'll get these white chunks, like not white, they're clear, but chunks in your eggs before you whip them of just the white that just holds itself together. That's because those globular proteins have all been whipped and tightened together. And by whipping them, you stretch those proteins out into individual strands like this. That's the first part of whipping, when things get a little bit foamy. After the first initial foaming, though, we stop the beaters. We add in a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of vinegar, or apple cider vinegar, or cream of tartar, some kind of acidic stabilizer, because those help to denature the albumin in our eggs, which will help it come together like this. And the continued whipping that gives nice, big, stiff, glossy peaks will create these sort of lattices or bubbles, really, rather, where we create this sort of chain of proteins. We take these chains of proteins, and they are both, some of them are hydrophobic, meaning they don't like water, and some of them are hydrophilic, meaning they do like water. See oil. Oil and water mixed together is hydrophobic because the two don't like to come together. The hydrophobic and the hydrophilic all get whipped up together and create these chains like this, where water likes to come together with itself. If you've ever put 2 drops of water together, you'll notice when they bleed together, they become one solid blob of water. Water likes to be with itself, so we're whipping up all that water in those egg whites, as well as those hydrophilic proteins will bind to the water, creating these sort of suspended bubbles of water in protein. This is how we get lots and lots of big bubbles with the acidity helping to stabilize and denature those, what are they called? Proteins. Yes. However, it's also advisable to use a copper bowl because copper ions are good at that same thing. I don't have a copper bowl. I don't really use copper. So there's a thought. But so now that we've got these sort of chains of proteins with water suspended in between them, we'll be left with a very glossy and very pretty meringue ready for the oven. When it cooks, though, we need to make sure that the oven is cool enough, not hot, cool enough that we cook the eggs without making them like brown, because this is a very delicate structure. Trying to bake bubbles like this, it's a very delicate process. If it's too hot, they'll collapse and get brittle and crumble and burn very quickly because they're very thin. If they have them too soft and the oven's too low, it just won't work. Our eggs will evaporate. The water will evaporate before the structure is set. What we're trying to do is reach this golden state between hot and cold, where the eggs cook at the same rate as the water is drawn off. If we have it too much either way, we'll end up with rubbery eggs or dry, cracked meringue. So that's basically how eggs work. Did you read Molecular Biology of the Cell by Garland Science? No. So with that, we need to focus on our eggs. Hope you guys like my little visual presentation. For my dish today, I'm going to need a couple of containers so I can separate my eggs. I think I'll grab these as well for the other parts. Put these to the side. Can I send you a possum stew recipe or ramen noodle? I don't know what you're saying. But whatever it is you're saying, I probably won't make it. That's not true. I'll probably look it over. Here we go. I love your visuals. Thank you. I tried. I planned that one out special. I'm going to need 2 bowls, one for specifically just eggs. The other is going to have egg whites and egg yolks. Now, here's another thing about eggs. We add things like sugar to our egg protein mix when we start working it up. The thing is, the sugar adds a bit of sweetness, but it also adds a bit of setting power. However, we can't add too much sugar, and we can't add sugar at the very beginning, because it will slow the process of creating these whipped up chains of hydrophilic and hydrophobic proteins. If we were to add the sugar in, it would sort of get in between the structures of the proteins binding together, and it would make it harder to whip up initially. We need to add it in when the sugar is a bit later in the process, so that way there's already a chain to work with, and the sugar will just dissolve straight up into the water instead of, Instead of trying to bind with those proteins. If we have proteins already whipped up, the water will instead bind to the sugar will instead bind to the water inside the protein bubbles, and will help them stiffen up and keep them from evaporating too quickly. Just saying. Why no possum stew? I don't like it. Here's what we're going to do. Get yourself 2 bowls, and in one, crack yourself 3 egg whites. Just kind of jump the eggs between the shells and let all that white drip off. Being careful to not get any yolk into your mix. Why? Well, here's the thing. This is a very delicate process by whipping up proteins and water. And as I said before, oil is very hydrophobic. Fats in general are very hydrophobic. And if we were to add in the fat content of an egg yolk, it would mess up the beautiful protein structures we're building. Here we go. The fat would get in there and stop us from building these delicate protein chains. Let me just pull out that bit of shell. Ah! What the hell is that? That's so cool. I got a double yolked egg. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, someone clip this, please. Clip this. Ah! Double yolked egg, double yolked egg. It's like a double rainbow. This only happens once in like a few dozen eggs. Oh my gosh, you guys, you have to see this, you have to see this, you have to see this, you have to see this. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You guys, look at this, look at this, look at this, look. Ah! Oh my gosh, hold on. We're gonna switch over to the other camera. Ah, double yolked egg, we got a twins. We're having twins. Owie. Ah, where's my bowl? There it is. Look at this, you guys, look at this, look at this, look. Here's my empty bowl. Look. 2 yolks. Look at that. 2 yolks, we got a twin. Ah! What even is going on? This happens like once in every few dozen eggs. GMOs, I bet. It's all that Monsanto corn they're feeding them. Egg. Don't say that. That's rude. We don't make cancer jokes here. I'm going to siphon out the 2 little eggies. Can someone clip that, please? I want to keep that forever. Anyway, let's head back to the countertop so we can talk more science. Hi, Nobilism. How's it going? And we're back. So I've split my eggs into 3 egg whites and 4 egg yolks. Oh, what a day this has been. I'm going to add my 3 egg whites into my mixer. Make sure as well that your mixer is absolutely clean. Hi, MaxiD. And start whipping it up. And you'll notice at the beginning, it looks like chunks of egg white are clinging on to the beaters. That's because, like I said, all those ovalbumin proteins, because they make up about 50% of the proteins in an egg, and we're just going to generalize that they're all ovalbumin, are like this right now. And what we're trying to do is unravel them. That's what the initial mixing is for, to unravel them into straight up individual, even though they don't look like this when they're whipped up either. When you have any protein, really, it doesn't look like a string. It looks more like a telephone wire. If you've ever seen those like old phones that have the spiral cord, that's what those look like. Those look like that. They just have like thick spiral cords of protein. There we go. Now I'm going to open this up. Yeah, I'm Scientist Bakington. Don't you see my coat? This is why I put it on, so that way you would believe me when I say certain things, like, you know, contrails, or what is it? Chemtrails are a thing. They're putting fluoride in our water. Anyway, I got myself here some very gentle peaks. You can see they're just kind of foamy. It's exactly what I want. This is the initial stage where we can start adding in things like sugar and a stabilizing acid. You can use different things like vinegar or cream of tartar powder if you have it. I am going to use cream of tartar and a little bit of sugar. Remember, don't add too much sugar, and don't add the sugar at the very beginning. I'm going to add about half a cup of sugar and some cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is a compound left at the bottom of ooh, fun. It's stuff that's left at the bottom of wine barrels after the initial wine making. It's sort of a acidic sediment that forms. Green, double the fluoride. You guys, I wasn't serious. I don't actually, like, honestly. People who think that, like, the Alex Jones types that wear the hats and the tinfoil hats. I was just joking, you guys. It's just a prank, bro. All right, so I'm going to take a few tablespoons, maybe about 5, of sugar. I drink a ton of green tea, double the fluoride. And about 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. You don't need too much. All this is doing is stabilizing our eggs. Cream of tartar, there we go. You can also use vinegar. Mix this together, help me distribute this evenly. And then I'll add a few shakes, about half of this for now. into my meringue. Just going to shake it gently in. There we go. And then I'll add in a little bit of salt for an ionizing agent. Woo! And start whipping it up again. Alex Jones indeed. Alex Jones, Alex Jones, Alex, do 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 do. And you'll notice that almost immediately things change a bit. You'll start to see the eggs deflate for a few seconds and then get really glossy. That's beautiful. Are you ready for deliciousness? I am. So yeah, that's basically how these things work. Eggs themselves aren't that scary. It's just making sure we handle them properly and understanding the science behind how they work. Very, very simple stuff. Here we go. Look at this. After just a few minutes, it's stiff-ish. These are what we call soft peaks in the cooking world, where they're peaks, but they kind of just dribble gently into the bowl. But they do, to a degree, hold their shape. Very nice. I'm going to now add the rest of the sugar and the cream of tartar. Just add that in. There we go. And beat until we have big, stiff, glossy peaks. They're more potent? I bet. All right, we're getting there. Things are getting real stiff. You'll also notice that they pale up quite a bit. They were kind of yellowy at the beginning. Now they're a bit more like a white, like a stark white color. Are you trying to get diabetes? That's a lot of sugar? I mean, not really. Oh, also, always make sure after you use it to tighten and quickly close up your reagents, because these, especially ones that go bad when you're exposed to the air for too long, like baking powder, baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, for those of you who like that name, or cream of tartar, always make sure you only open them as long as you need to get something out. Just thought you might want to know. Mr. Green Thunder, lab coats on a cooking show. You missed my whole scientific explanation behind why egg whites beat up. So don't look at me all weird. You're the one who missed out. Look at this, though. I've got these big, stiff, glossy, absolutely beautiful peaks now because we knew about the science behind egg whites. Here, I'll show you exactly what I mean. Look at this. Look at how beautiful these look. Look at how stiff and beautiful these egg whites are. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. Exactly what I want. If you find your egg whites start to look a bit grainy, you've over whipped them. Don't do that. Stop once you get to these stiff but very smooth peaks. You can tell by just kind of rubbing a bit of it between your fingers, and you shouldn't feel any grains. There we go.